I've made a huge mistake adopting a baby. I've made a huge mistake, like monumental, the kind of mistake that makes you question every decision you've ever made. About 17 years ago, my wife and I adopted a beautiful baby boy from an Asian American family. His birth parents were young, too young to raise a child. They seemed embarrassed, so we didn't make a lot of inquiries. After all, I wasn't there to pry. I was there to be a dad. Looking back, maybe we should have asked one or two more questions. Now, anyone that has been through the adoption process knows that it is much easier to get a non-white baby than it is to get a white one, which is fine, in my opinion, but it's the world we live in. We wanted one now and didn't want to be on a years-long wait list. So when this perfect, beautiful baby boy landed in our arms, we were all in. No waiting lists, no hesitation. We loved him instantly. As he grew, guilt began to creep in. We weren't raising him in his ethnic culture, and we didn't want to whitewash him. Luckily, we live in a huge Chinese-American community, so we leaned in. Hard. He went to Mandarin classes and was fluent by 5. A Chinese couple adopted him as their nephew, taking him to dim sum, teaching him traditions, and making sure he celebrated every holiday. We even took him to China every 2 years. We weren't trying to force it on him, but we didn't want to erase his heritage either. We thought we were crushing it as progressive adoptive parents. He's the best thing that has ever happened to me and my wife. There is not a day where I don't just look at him with love and pride. Then came college. We are filling out his college app's financial aid applications and doing that whole thing. I was sorting through his old adoption records, not really paying much attention to them, and then his biological parents' surnames pop out and basically punch me in the face. Park and Kim.
What?
Park and Kim. For those who don't know, those are Korean last names.
Oh.
My son isn't Chinese. He's Korean.
Uh-oh.
And in that moment, my entire life rewinds in horrifying clarity. Every Chinese lesson, every Lunar New Year, every trip to China, it all flashes before my eyes. 17 years of making sure my son embraced his culture. Except it wasn't his culture. It wasn't even close. I mean, I knew we had adopted from Asia Americans, but come on, we live in a neighborhood filled with Chinese Americans. It never clicked. I had somehow convinced myself that we had done all the right things by honoring his Chinese roots. Now that I really look at him, I can't believe I never noticed. He looks so Korean. Square jaw, broad build, not a hint of Chinese features. And yet, somehow, it never crossed my mind. And all I can think is, what have I been doing? This kid is Korean and I've spent nearly 2 decades forcing Chinese traditions on him. I feel so horrible. I feel like I'm that dumb, liberal, white, woke a-hole and I don't know what to do. I've yet to disclose this to my son or wife. I honestly don't even know if I will.